Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma.
Now, Tom Cole controls his own office. He has a shotgun he walks around with.
Well, yeah. In the air. Hey, everybody.
Who's been leaking out of my office?
Exactly. So, Congressman, we have so much to talk to you about. We just want to start by telling you how much we like you. We think you're
Oh, now the bad news.
Not just because he's carrying a shotgun. Let's start with the Putin remark. It just causes a lot of concern, not only around here, but around the country. You concerned when the president says what he says about the United States being as bad as Russia?
I am, because I don't think that's an accurate characterization of who we are as a country or what our record is really over the course of 200-plus years of American history. On the other hand, I am pretty heartened when I hear, Ambassador Haley's first remarks at the UN were pretty tough on the Russians. I don't have any doubt about where Jim Mattis stands on this issue. And frankly, I think Rex Tillerson, even though he caught a lot of heat for having a relationship with Putin, is actually a very pragmatic, very tough-minded guy. So I think the president's going to get good advice, and I think in the end he'll do the right thing. But I agree. I think that rhetoric was not appropriate, and I think, really it hurt the president, and frankly, it's something that is just not good when a president mischaracterizes who we are as a country and the people.
Congressman, it's Willie Geist. What about the comment we were just talking about where he called that appeals judge a so-called judge, or his posture to the federal judiciary?
Well, it's certainly not a phrase I would have used, particularly if I were headed into federal court. But, I also watched President Obama dress down the Supreme Court at the State of the Union over the Citizen United case. So I just think presidents are well advised, not to yell at the refs. I mean, learn something from really good coaches, which is, you might try and play them a little bit, but don't do it to their face and don't be disrespectful. And again, I just don't think that that's worthy of him. I don't think that's generally the way he acts when people are around him. So, social media, you have a tendency to go over the top, and I think that can be dangerous.
Congressman Gene Robinson, you mentioned Ambassador Haley, who's from home state of South Carolina. I know she has impressed some of the career diplomats in her part of the State Department. But is it a good thing that she's going to have to spend so much time kind of apologizing and saying, well, what the president meant to say was this, and we actually do uphold traditional American values, and we're actually not just like Vladimir Putin? I mean, is that a good charge for her?
Well, I think this is a different kind of president. Let's be honest about that. And I think he is a disruptive force and means to be. And frankly, that's what the American people wanted, certainly in Washington, D.C. So, again, I think probably this all gets better over time. I mean, I've never seen anybody walk into the Oval Office seamlessly. It's a bigger stage with more observation, and there's just no adequate preparation. But, again, I'm very heartened by the team he's selected around him. And, I think they're going to get the job done for the country.
So, Congressman, let's ask you some questions so you don't have to respond to something that Donald Trump said, and instead talk about, I'm looking at a couple of headlines here, one from the New York Times. Reality chills heated words on health care law, GOP ambition shift from quick repeal. What are we looking at? And I ask not only for the media, but also for a lot of my Republican friends who voted for Donald Trump and also are on Obamacare. What can we expect?
I think we're going to do a phased repeal and replace. We can't repeal everything simply because we don't have 60 in the Senate. We'll move through reconciliation. We're doing that now. There'll be several pieces of legislation. We won't write one monstrous bill. Remember, the insurance companies themselves literally are writing the policies for next year now. Right. So nobody this year is going to be losing insurance, and probably next year, just given the way the system works. It took President Obama 14 months to write Obamacare, and it took them years to phase it in. Frankly, it's not all phased in to this day. So, but I think you can change the impact fairly quickly. Look, in my home state, we're down now to one single provider for an entire state if you're on Obamacare exchange, and our rates are going up 69%. So standing around doing nothing is not an option for anybody that represents Oklahoma and a lot of other states.
Congressman, I mean, is there any concept for replacement in the works, and do you expect a gap in coverage?
Well, I don't know about gaps in coverage. Again, I'm not on a committee of jurisdiction, but yes, I met with Greg Walden, who's the chairman for Energy and Commerce, about this a couple of days ago. I'm actually his counterpart as an appropriator, and we talked about some of the measures that would be needed to support insurance companies, while they're in this marketplace. Because again, many of the people on Obamacare, vast majority, get some sort of subsidy. But remember, this is 4% of the U.S. insurance market that's actually on Obamacare, and a percentage beyond that, certainly they're getting Medicaid expansion support in 31 states. So it's a complex problem, but we've got exactly the right speaker in Paul Ryan. He's a policy guy. We've got really good chairmen, and we're moving, I think, pretty quickly. But again, it won't happen overnight. Just can't do it that way.
Congressman, final quick question. The Ninth Circuit obviously is going to be reviewing the president's executive order on immigration. Should the president have the right to make these determinations? Should the court allow this to move forward?
Well, I think so. Honestly, let's put the policy aside. There's a legitimate debate over that, and the administration itself changed the policy on green card holders and interpreters. So that suggests it wasn't fully thought through, and it was certainly unevenly implemented. But look, I'm not a lawyer. But the way I read the law, the president's power when it comes to immigration is awfully strong. Now, the Ninth Circuit's a very liberal circuit, but I think it's full of very talented people, and we'll see. But the good thing is, number one, it's being resolved judicially. Number two, the administration respected the courts. They implemented the stay. So I think we'll come to an orderly conclusion here and maybe clarify a murky area. But I think precedent is awfully strongly on the side of the administration.
Agreed.
Congressman Tom Cole, thank you so much for being on the show.